Okay, step number one, to build this bird feeder made out of PVC pipe, we are going to measure to the correct length, and I'm going to make it 12 inches long, 1 foot. I had this piece of PVC pipe laying around and figured I'd take and make use of it and make a bird feeder. I've again looked at different plans on the internet making bird feeders out of old pop bottles and such, which seemed like a little light duty, but and it hit me. I come up with this idea. I hope you like it. Like I say, follow along. It's a two-part video series, and we'll do it from start to finish. And you can see I'm putting a 12-inch mark every so often around the pipe because I want to try to cut this straight as can be. If you just mark it once and cut like PVC pipe with a hacksaw, it always ends up cutting crooked, extremely crooked. Or at least that's always been my luck with it. Maybe you have better luck, and if that's the case, mark it one time and cut it. And also on that 12 inches, you could make it shorter, you could make it longer, but I thought that sort of seemed like a nice figure to build one with. And you'll see when it's done, it's about a normal size for a bird feeder, and it does hold plenty of bird seed. Oh, and I have not mentioned it so far in the video. The pipe I'm using is 4-inch Schedule 40 pipe, the thicker wall PVC pipe. It should be pretty heavy duty, and that's actually one of the reasons I'm making this. We have at times in where we live in a rural area bear trouble, and they knock them down and break them, and this is building one to replace the store-bought one that ended up broken over time. And there again, when I saw this pipe, I'm like, that'll make a good heavy-duty bird feeder, I think. I know it's fairly thick, and this again was left from a project that had to have a drain put in our basement. It clogged up, and this seemed just like a perfect use. But even still, you can buy the PVC pipe like this at Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace Hardware, and you can even buy just like a short 2-foot section. You don't have to buy the whole big long like the 10-foot section for it, but this again was just part of a 10-foot section I had left. Now, usually, like when I was working on the basement drain, because I'm not worried about so straight on the cuts on that, I usually just cut this PVC pipe with a reciprocating saw or a hacksaw, but I'm going to try to follow that line I made, and I'm going to use the Oscillating cutting tool here, a little rechargeable Cordless One I had bought ages ago at Harbor Freight, and I want to try to just nice and carefully follow that so it again does cut fairly straight around. And here now how I'm using the two sawhorses cutting the pipe and the clamps just sort of on each side of the PVC pipe. I could just simply take and turn it to cut it at another spot since I was through on part of it. Yeah, again, it's not the fastest way to cut this pipe, but I'm more worried about keeping it straight. It's not like I have to, after this, worry about cutting a whole bunch of these at one time. I'm not going into an assembly line production on them. And these oscillating cutting tools, they're not the fastest, but they are good for like doing stuff like this to keep, well, nice and straight on your edges on cutting compared to other methods. And here we're going to take here and turn it about one more time. We're about the whole way around on this, not too much. I think this little part here is about all that needs done yet. Okay, and we are the whole way around, and there's our 12-inch long, 4-inch PVC pipe. And I'm going to take here and stand it straight up on edge here and put some clamps again around each corner here to hold it in place. Do the next step here, which basically the next step's going to be, I mean, it cut pretty straight, but it's a little bit from the oscillating cutting tool. It's not perfect still, and it's a little bit of a rough edges. Once I get it clamped here, I'm going to grab the orbital sander, and we're going to just take and sand it up and sort of level it out some. There's again our little 5-inch orbital sander. Bought that a while ago at Walmart. It was on the reduced shelf for like, it was next to nothing, like $10. Okay, here, shut the sander off a minute and show you what we have right now. You can see it is fairly nice and smooth around, and even where it was, the saw marks were fairly going. I'm going to turn it around and sand the other side some, even though that was never actually cut, other than again from the factory. But I still want to smooth it out. Guess they are not the nicest finish from the factory. And there we got that side sanded, and there's a look at that. And before we get fully assembled, I had this stored outside. I'm going to have to take and wipe the mud and dirt out of it. And I'm going to take here and measure around the pipe 4 different places. Furthermore, I'm using a speed square to measure. It's a way to sort of keep it like squared up. And what I'm doing is putting the mark halfway across the diameter of the pipe. And again, there's going to be, and there'll be a purpose. I want it 4 times measured around, and right there you can see zoomed in, it's about 2 1/4 inches is the center point. Okay, now we're going to take and move the speed square and put another mark again at the 2 1/4. It's sort of, you can look at it like the 4 marks on a compass, the 4 spots, your north, south, east, and west around the pipe. And also you see I'm using a magic marker, Sharpie, whatever you want to call them, but that marks good on the plastic. It's easy to see, and it does again do fine on it, no problem. Okay, and there is our 4 marks around the pipe that I was talking about. Close-up look. Okay, and now since we have those, I'm just going to just put a little short mark, and then we're going to have to measure farther down the pipe. I'm just going to take this, you can see from the side, just put like about a 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch long mark down from where we had put the initial marks. You can see in the video again what I am doing. Alright, and then I'm going to take from the top right here at this place and put a mark about 2 inches down from the top of the PVC pipe. And same deal here, another spot 2 inches down. And we're going to take, again, round we go, another spot 2 inches down, and do the last spot. And that's marked again around the pipe again. You'll be seeing why we're going with that. Okay, I'm going to grab the speed square here, and where we put the 2 inch down mark, try to keep it nice and straight with the top, and I'm just going to take and mark it. What we're going to be doing here is drilling holes. I just want to put where to start the center of the drill bit, and again do 1 more of these. We're not going to be doing all 4 at this spot. We're going to be making more holes, but these only need drilled at these 2 areas. Okay, now on the 2 places 180 degrees apart from each other, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches down from where we just put that last, where we're going to start to drill the pilot hole. And there again, that is 1.5 inches farther down, and back again 180 degrees around. We're going to do the same thing on the other side of the pipe. And as you probably guessed, we're going to grab the speed square again, and we're going to just take, again, this is another place we're going to be drilling. We're just going to mark it again, just like we did the one up above, and 180 degrees around the pipe, and put our mark again, our crosshairs, to start the drill. Okay, I'm going to be using a hole saw, and 1 1/8 inches, and I'm going to be taking the top spot we marked to drill. We're going to be drilling with the hole saw, and just start right in the center, and the way she goes, the PVC, it'll drill easy. Although not as easy as I thought. Hole saw's dull, and I think the battery's going dead in the cordless drill. And here we'll go do the other hole with the hole saw. Okay, anyhow, one way or the other, mission's accomplished on that. Now this 1.5 inch pipe. I'm going to take and want to put in through it, and guess what? It's too big. I didn't use as big of a hole saw as I probably would have otherwise, because I didn't want to get the hole too big that it's a sloppy fit. So anyhow, we're going to cut this to 6 inches long, so some sticks out on each side of the main piece of the PVC pipe, and we'll worry about the diameter making it fit here very shortly. Furthermore, when I drilled the hole with the hole saw, I had a 1 1/8, and my hole saw set after that went up to 1 1/4. And the 1 1/4, I put it against the pipe, seemed too big, and they always sort of like walked some. I sort of thought it would have made it too big. And here we are cutting pipe with the oscillating cutting tool. And that is through. That takes less time than cutting around the 4 inch, and there, as I was saying, it's not going to fit in the hole, so we're going to take the Dremel tool here and we're going to ream the hole out some, make it fit. Furthermore, I again back down to not wanting it to be a sloppy fit. I'm going to do some here and try it again, and it's still, guess what, not fitting. So we're going to grab the Dremel and just keep repeating on this. It's still not good. Not yet. We're close. Okay, after some failed attempts and it's still not fitting here, we're going to just go grab old school here and use a file. Pretty coarse file here I'm using, and because again, the Dremels places wanted to take more, and it was sort of to make the whole sort of not exactly round anymore, so let's work with this. And later in the video, I do give in and just use the larger hole saw. We will overcome it is, yes, a little bit of a sloppy fit, but we'll overcome that. I probably, again, I'm ready for a hole saw set. My hole saw, I don't have a 1 3/16. It goes from 1 1/8 1/4, but I'll just, at this time of the video, I didn't have it. Finally, after that, we did get it to slide in. Now we just have to repeat on the other side of it. But it is a nice snug fit, no doubt about that. And then we're going to do the other hole. Okay, after some work with the Dremel tool, and as the other side still not fitting, so here I'm going to use the file some and see what's coming along here on that. And it's a slow process using it. Again, it's sort of nice way at the end, so I'm going to switch back to the Dremel tool. It still was not fitting yet. Okay, and let's see, and look at this. I think it's going to fit. Yep, and it is a snug fit. There's no question about that. And I can't just take and push it through easily. So here we're going to take and keep trying until we get smart here in 1 second. And we're going to use a rubber mallet and simply just tap it in. Okay, now a little bit easier step here. I bought this driveway marker. You could use a dowel rod, whatever you like, but I sort of thought this looked like it would work good. I'm going to take and cut the point off the end of it and just smooth it up here with the little cut-off tool. And I'm going to take and measure it to 8 inches. And we'll be put our magic marker right at the 8 inches. Okay, that's cut off, and now we're going to take and drill a hole here in the down the second mark below where we had put the hole to make the PVC pipe fit in the PVC pipe. And this hole is a 5/16 inch. This does not need to be, again, you don't need no hole saw, just a drill bit, a lot simpler to take care of. And now I'll just simply give it a half a turn and we'll drill a hole from the other side. There again, you can get long drill bits. If you had a long drill bit, you could, in theory, drill a hole straight across. Okay, now with that hole drilled, we're just simply going to take the rod we cut and push it right through, and that slides in easy, no problem on that. Well, maybe a little bit of encouragement, but voila, there we go. That will be a place for the birds to perch when we get the bird feeder in operation. Okay, now I've turned it upside down, actually where we have been working, like where we drilled the hole with the hole saw and such, there was going to be the top of the feeder. Now on the bottom we're going to put a mark here, same as we did at the top, 2 1/4 inches the whole way around every 90 degrees until we get the 4 places marked. Again, this is sort of what I pictured in my mind when I'm building this. I mean, you could modify my design, but this is again sort of a building block. Again, there's more you could do with it. You could make it bigger, smaller, and there again there are 4 marks made. But yeah, use your own imagination if you don't like exactly how I have it. And that before, I'm going to just take where we put the marks at the top and just draw down about a 3/8 of an inch, ½ inch with the mark so you can see the places, the 4 spots from the side of the feeder. And as before, you'll see we'll be measuring down from them as we're using the speed square right now. And this next mark is 3 inches down from the top, resting the edge of the speed square against the top of the PVC pipe. And as before, just 180 degrees around, and we're going to mark this also 3 inches down. And that's going to be our next place we're going to be doing some drilling. And doing shorter spot, I'm going to take and make the crosshair mark, plus sign, whatever design, and just so you know where to center the drill bit to drill the holes. And again, measure as close as you can so you do the holes line up on each side, since again, like as I was talking earlier, don't have one long drill bit. And even on that long drill bit, you can oftentimes take and drill crooked and end up messing up. Alrighty, and this next hole will be 2 inches below the other, or 5 inches total, or should be 5.5. I said about the other hole was going to be 3 inches down. I actually made it 3.5, and this is 5.5 inches down. But again, on that, one way or the other, it would work. And here we're first drilling with the hole saw, and I am using the larger hole saw this time. Yeah, we'll see how the 1 1/4 inch hole saw works over the 1 1/8 inch hole saw. Okay, we'll go grab our pipe here, the smaller, and see, yeah, it does slide right in. No, again, but it says I sort of suspected it's a sloppy fit. Again, a 1 3/16 inch hole saw would have been perfect, but I didn't have one, and now we're just going to cut that actually about 6 1/4 inches. I said 6 before, but about 6 1/4 I'm making it. It's again, it's not a room for adjustments accordingly, as long as it'll stick out both sides of the PVC pipe, the main section. Okay, now with a couple marks around, I'm just going to take and again connect the dot, so to speak, and we're going to saw this off. So it's hopefully, again, fairly straight. It's, again, not, don't have to be perfect, but it'll be pretty good. And here's our oscillating cutoff tool. Alrighty, bend down, we'll pick this up, and there it is. And we're going to take, and it's in place in the bird feeder now, the main section of the PVC pipe. And now we're going to take and drill the 5/16 inch hole for another bird perching location. Interestingly, I did install these, and it's been a while ago I made this. They sure use the feeder a lot, but I've never seen them use the perch steps on us. Now, they do on a store-bought feeder we have. Now, anyhow, I'm happy the birds use it, and as far as if they don't use them, well, it looks sort of nifty with it on. It seems like part of a bird feeder. What can I say? Now we're going to cut another piece of our driveway stake to 8 1/4 inches and cut that off. Okay, grab this, and there it be, and it should as the other one. It only took a little bit of effort to put in. And yep, on these stakes they have that smooth finish on them, helps them slide in. And you can see the loose fitting on the PVC pipe when I'm tapping this in is falling out of place. We sure don't have the problem with the first one installed. But again, I'll have an answer on that coming up here in a short time. Right, and here is just a general overview of what has been accomplished till now on this. If you're following along, this is the progress made. I'm going to take and mark the PVC pipe this smaller, sort of like, it still don't have to be exact. And I'm going to take and pound it back out. And again, we're going to take and, there's a reason for those marks here in a short time. And you can tell I'm taking the first one we installed out. The other one just sort of falls out. This one's a pretty snug fit, but okay, we did get it. And it'll be as much fun putting it back in. Now, where I marked one, I'm just going to lay them side by side and put a similar marks on the second piece of the smaller PVC pipe. Now I'm going to take here, grab a marker, and this I'm just drawing freehand, no measuring or nothing. I want to cut a notch out, come down about half the diameter of the PVC pipe, and I'm just again drawing a line just freehand, and then again back where we had marked that, connect it together, and then come down around sort of like a great big U shape and mark it, and then come straight across down the pipe until we come across the other mark, and then we're going to take and just bring it back up, and there we go. And that's going to be cut out with the oscillating cutoff tool, and I'm going to mark the other pipe the same way. Furthermore, if after watching this you're interested in building the bird feeder and you want to have a question or a suggestion or any, again, you want to know, feel free to let it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to read them and check out what you need answered and see if I can help you out as any time. And perhaps if you're interested, we could work out at a price. I'd be willing to make one of these bird feeders for someone for a fair price and with shipping and such. Okay, I'm going to clamp this in the bench vise to cut this out. It's too small to just hold. Alrighty, let me grab this and give it a partial turn around so you can watch what's happening in the video, and we'll cut the other side of it. That is something I like with these oscillating cutoff tools is you can get in and do stuff you can't because they cut nice and straight and don't, again, they're small enough you can do things with them that you can't. They're not the fastest cutting instrument, but again, they are convenient for that reason, for finer work that's, again, unusual cutting circumstances. Okay, it looks like it's pretty much loosened up, so even grab a hold of it here. Yep, that's ready. It's loosened up. Okay, we can take here and take a closer look at it, and that's what we want to do. And now we're just going to cut the other one the same way. Okay, and there it's loosened up, I do believe, and yep, that's taken care of, and there's another one cut. Now I want to take momentarily and take these bird perch locations out for the upcoming steps on this. They'll be in the way. I just wanted to be sure they were going to fit and such in the holes. There's just a look before we progress. I got the mud wiped out of it, most of it, although we still got some dust. Now I'm going to take some of this clear silicone, and this is what's going to be used to seal around those little pipes inside the big PVC pipe. And there I'm marking the top of this, just sort of so you understand and keep everything straight. And those, I want that where we cut to be facing down. And this supposedly, my theory, to keep the bird seed from running out when you dump it in. And from experience using it, it does work on that, but not a lot of feed actually gets around the hole. Some, but not a lot, so perhaps maybe you could try putting them the other way. But anyhow, that's, again, it definitely works the whole way out the bottom. Now we're sealing around this one there, putting around the silicone around the small PVC pipe. Again, this clear, it'll make a little bit of a mess, but we'll be cleaning it up later when it dries and everything's good and hardened up. And if you don't have any, you can buy the clear silicone at any place, pretty much Walmart or anything. That actually, the one I'm using came from Dollar General. I needed it for another project around the house, and again, small area I live, there's no Walmart close, but there's a Dollar General, and they had it. And you see how I took that little pipe and pushed it back and forth just so, again, it seals real good around the pipe, and it's for certain in there nice and firm. And again, I'm taking my finger and just wiping the excess. It's latex based, so don't worry about that. It's, again, shouldn't be really, once it's dry, toxic. Okay, now we're going to slide the other one in, and this is the one that's the loose fit, and use the silicone around it. And this one does actually need the silicone to hold it in place. This, again, was the larger hole. And just, again, that bead I'm using, I usually cut the end of the tip on the silicone tubes about 1/8 inch. I don't know if the video's showing that or not. You can see the detail. And as with the upper one here, now that I have it around the outside edge, we're going to take here and get some more here, but we're going to take and push it back and forth so it is for sure the whole way around the wall of the little PVC pipe and the large PVC pipe, that is the whole way around the wall with the big PVC pipe, the silicone. And now after that, I'm going to put this to the side and let that dry good overnight. Give it about 8 hours, and then you can pick up and work with it later on. But in the meantime, we're going to go do other steps here. mostly we're going to be preparing here. I'm going to let it sit upside down, but we're going to prepare a little piece of this furring strip, and we're going to cut it to the length of the outside of the large PVC pipe. I just took and marked, you can see the magic marker, and then we're going to just take our square here and mark it, and we're just going to zap that off, and that's going to be our next step. And let's grab the saw here and we'll cut this. And on this, since it's a furring strip, if you don't have a circular saw and you have one of those oscillating cutoff tools, would work no larger than it is, or even a hand saw. Again, it's not like you're trying to cut a big 2x8 or anything. Okay, and then lay that across the top, centered on our PVC pipe, and the thickness of the wall of the PVC pipe. We want to put a little mark of the thickness of the wall of it, and then taking the speed square, we're going to draw up about, again, let about 3/4 of an inch hanging down, and just we're going to mark it again. And what we're going to be doing in the next video is picking up here at this spot, and we're going to be cutting these little notches out. And from there, again, be sure to check the next video. As always, thank you for watching, and be sure to like and please subscribe.